Hello and welcome to 20 Lore Pro. I'm SirAshtown and we are here live at Charlie's Collectible Show's Lorcana 13K. This has been a really exciting tournament here at Charlie's Collectible Show and it has just been off to the races. We're excited to be here with Logan from World Class Cards versus Hector, who is with Southside Gaming. So two competitive players, two different teams facing off here in the finals at Charlie's Collectible Show's Lorcana 13K. This tournament had over 319 players attend the event. It originally started as an 8K event and increased slowly from a 10K to a 12K and finally a 13K prize pool. We're really excited to be here and to showcase some of the latest in competitive Lorcana here in set 7. 20 Lore Pro, we're offering this stream currently in Chinese and in Spanish. If you or a friend love watching in a different language that you may speak or your heart language, head on over to those links that we put into the Twitch chat or YouTube chat. Sarek is over there casting in the Spanish, and we have the broadcast live on Bilibili for the Chinese language audience. Again, we want to thank y'all for joining us here with 20 Lore Pro as we're getting here ready for the final match. It's just really been an exciting time, and the Lorcana competitive season is not over because even after this, next weekend, 20 Lore Pro will be in Wisconsin at World Class Cards for the Lorcana 10K weekend. So if you thought you're going to see Logan here for the last time, even though it's the finals, we're going to probably see him again next weekend. So this meta is really shaping up to some really great gameplay. We've seen some colors specifically be pretty strong, such as Sapphire. But from Hunter Burden to here, Sapphire Steel, we're now looking at Sapphire Ruby. And I'm joined here in the caster booth with Loaf. Loaf, how are you doing?
Competitive teams meeting up in the finals is a really exciting thing to see, and I can tell you from talking with both of these players this weekend, they are going to take this seriously. This win means a lot.
Yeah, I'm so excited to kind of see how this plays through, and we also have virtually for you joining us kind of across the way here, Jebas and Wonderland, who have been providing wonderful analysis throughout the entire tournament today as we've been in the top. Jebas, how are you doing?
I am doing great. Looking forward to a mirror, but not quite an identical mirror here with these two finalists.
This should really be a great time. You're exactly right. We have their lists available to look at. They've been put into the Twitch chat, so you, the viewers, can view them at your convenience. Wonderland, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good here. I don't see these lists in Twitch chat.
I'll
I
send
want
you
to
real
see
quick.
these lists. How close of a mirror do we have here?
This
I
mirror,
assume they're both playing popsicles.
they're both playing popsicles. Hector is opting for the shark action-centric build, where Logan has a bit of a hybrid item build. We saw that Scrooge showcased in the last match. But more notably than that, I would say, is we see Logan going over the top with cards like Maleficent Dragon to potentially have the better endgame here.
Yeah, they both have two answers for Lucky Dime in Hideaway and Cusco. Sort of similar but different. In this matchup, they're functionally the same card. It's really more, did you opt for McDucks versus Gramatalas, and what numbers on Tamatoas, and then the shark package versus just more items.
I don't even see McDuck Manors anymore.
No?
Looking at the
There's no McDucks. It's just shark. But we're playing with Sisus, where I don't think the DKP Shark Burn plays Sisu, so it's just another version of Sisu on ice. but it's still sticking with the half sharks there. So they're kind of similar. It's very interesting. There's just so many powerful cards in this combination that the list can be so close but so far away at the same time.
Yeah, and both of these lists, I think recursion is something to keep in mind. Hector will have the sharks to get back his actions. He's also playing 3 copies of that Tamatoa, happy as a clam. Logan as well, having that Tamatoa, 8-drop Tamatoa so shiny as well, getting those items back. We'll have to see if these players get into game states where they're perhaps saving those hideaways and those Cuscos specifically to take the dime off the board and into the inkwell.
I do think that for Logan, getting multiple coils is going to be more relevant than Hector perhaps getting multiple coils into play. There are not necessarily that many easy answers to Crab coming out of Logan's deck. However, with a few Sapphire coils,
One coil.
just a coil, if you get 2 coils in play, all of a sudden, it's within Medusa range pretty easily.
Well, I mean, Crab gets taken down by a single coil and a brawl since it's a 4/5, and then Giant Crab gets taken down by Medusa and a coil, or double coil and a Sisu or a brawl. So he does have quite a bit, and as you said earlier, he does go over the top. Those 2 dragons are going to be very relevant. And they kind of have a different Crab split. Logan is playing 4/2 in favor of running the happy as a clam, while Hector is running the 3/3 split, doing 3 shinies and 3 clams.
Right.
And having those dragons will help there.
Yeah, and right off the bat, we're seeing the difference of these 2 decks. Hector going for the more traditional ramp on 2, Hiram on 4. Logan going for quad item, Fishbone Brawl Scrooge.
Yeah, the free Scrooge ends up being very nice tempo-wise, because we've already developed these items, which a lot of times you want to end up doing anyway, but it lets us still deploy a threat. Even to the point where our 4/4 Quest for One was just brawled. I mean, you gotta feel pretty good about that.
What's more relevant, a Sisu or an ice block?
Yeah,
And I think that's an ice block.
another notable difference in this list that we saw Logan showcasing is Hector saying coil is enough and Logan wanting that extra ice block for insurance.
Just passes.
Yeah, it looked like that was just Fishbone ink and pass.
So not even a regular ink is kind of brutal.
Does not look like there's really any card draw in hand here. There is a Medusa in hand.
Being able to crack both pops and play a crab to get him back would be pretty decent here. He could randomly double ink and B prep if he needed to, but that seems not fantastic at this board state.
Yeah.
Luckily, the Shark is not that devastating of a threat here. It's good. But without being able to recur actions, there's usually a finite amount that it's able to gain. So there's a little bit of time, but not a ton to work with. Really, we need to find a Flaversham right now to get a little bit more cards going.
I do like the Shark here because the answers for it are extremely limited here. And Hector realizing that to get it off the board, Logan would have to do something pretty extracurricular here.
He'll basically have to ink twice next turn to be able to Medusa it. And that's just gonna empty his hand, and it looks like that's an ice block still in his hand, so
that is on the
got rid
table.
of the Sisu earlier.
I think that the double ink into Medusa is on the table, but knowing that there are minimal to no Be Prepareds, there's 3 Be Prepareds total for the Shark deck,
None.
and 0. That is why we're deploying so many Sharks. We have no fear at all. This is the open deck list aggression that you're able to do. Logan just doesn't have good answers to putting a bunch of stuff on the field.
Yeah, very interesting here. We've seen these Ruby Sapphire players ramp their ink up to extraordinary levels here, but both of these players either passing without inking on 5, passing without inking on 6, and we're playing for the board.
Yeah, I mean, with no B preps, you don't have to be afraid of just running out a bunch of Sharks. Now, any action from here on out is just awesome. And even if there's a world where, one of these Sharks gets answered, we're still living in a pretty good spot where we have this follow-up Shark still in play.
Yeah, Sail Vision gain 4 lore is is the beginning of the snowball for this game.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's just a Tamatoa picked up here. Just in case things go awry, then we have a great follow-up after. Logan not having really any card draw this game makes the run out of just dumping a bunch of things to play this Scrooge feel a little less good, right? First out of resources.
But
opted to pick up a popsicle.
The interesting thing is, yeah, you can say, oh, Logan hasn't drawn Flaversham, so he's losing, but Hector hasn't played Flaversham either.
Hector did actually have one Hiram on 4. It got instantly brawled.
Oh.
But
well, I guess then never mind. Hector had Flaversham, that's why he won. Simple as that.
I mean,
it does make a big difference in this matchup for sure. Just runs out Lucky Dime passes. I don't know if that's going to be good enough to recover from this.
I do know. I don't think it is. It won't be.
You don't think that'll be good enough? I don't know.
No, I don't think the dime on an empty field when you don't have B preps and 2 of the characters you have to ink 3 times with 1 coil to be able to answer with your Sisu. Yeah.
This is the very real cost of not putting Be Prepared in the deck, right? Especially in an open deck position.
Hideaway on...
No, it hits the coil, so now the Sharks can no longer be answered out of your deck. Unfortunate. So that sort of takes that out here.
Looked like that was a quest up to 15, and then Hideaway going up to 17, and here we are just going to game 2. Well, a very interesting game 1 there. I do think we highlighted one really great point at the end there, which is this Maui Half Shark, 7-5 evasive. Really no answer in Logan's deck besides some coil shenanigans.
Yeah, the more coils, the better, I would say, but coil is sort of card negative a lot of times because you have to not only be inking to get the effect, but you have to put them into play, and that is a whole card. So if you don't have sort of Flavershams drawing cards or like the Tamatoas picking up extra popsicles to get additional resources, you're just going to run out of resources while dealing with just a single big threat. The Sharks are very, very good in this matchup with Logan's list not having any Be Prepareds.
Yeah, Logan ran into Inkables at the end there, but it was a very... It was a honest start from both players. We saw Tipo into Hiram for Hector, and Logan even had a Fishbone triple 1-drop Scrooge start, which is sort of a Hiram, to Did we count that?
Sort of.
Again, we want to thank y'all so much for joining us here with 20 Lore Pro. We are here in the finals of a 319 player tournament. It was a 8K originally, and because of the high attendance, it was upgraded to a 10K, 12K, and now finally a 13K. This has been a wonderful weekend for Set 7 competitive Lorcana. Again, we're here live with 20 Lore Pro. I'm SirAshtown. Join with us casting here in the booth is Loaf, and virtually we have Jebas and Wonderland. We are going to be live next weekend for World Class Cards Lorcana 10K weekend in Wisconsin, a 5K Saturday and a 5K Sunday. Logan, being the player from World Class Cards, right now here in the finals against Hector from Southside Gaming. This is really turning out to be a great event. And again, thank you so much for joining us here on 20 Lore Pro.
All right, quick alter, both players. And we'll see how Logan fares on the play this game. Shows you how important hidden information is. Knowing that there's no cards lets Hector kind of go wild.
I'm not a fan of open deck lists. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Because I like that ability to bluff things. And you just kind of lose that. But it makes sense as to why they push for it. This is a streamed event. People are going to kind of know what people are on by day 2. If you're winning all day, you're at a disadvantage because like they know what you're on after like 2 rounds.
Also gives bigger advantages to larger teams too. Just it's easier to scout, share information, and that was something that had historically happened in other games too. The bigger the team, the more information that they had access to, and anybody that wasn't doing that was disadvantaged. So there's a reason for it. Do run out sale on 2. Debating on our ink here. Decide to go with one of the coils and just run out a Vital Sphere. Now, I'm not sure that I love getting rid of one of the coils here. Again, it feels like it's one of the major answers to just characters out of this deck. So the coils feel like they are likely going to be pretty important, but we'll see if that actually ends up mattering this game.
Yeah, I do have to agree with the significance of that shark in the first game, but Logan's navigated himself here to the finals, and I'm sure he has a plan of how to tackle Hector's more balanced Ruby Sapphire.
All right, a sail and a Vital Sphere coming back from the other side. It's like a Fishbone Quill. And an extra ink for turn here. Alright, inks of a Vital Sphere. And then we play another sail. I found a Flaversham, that's good. Hopefully Logan is not over-inking here. And that the card quantity is still going to be available. You can pressure your opponent by presenting big, important to remove threats like Flaversham to make it so that their turn, like their play is not very impactful. But as we see here, like we're not going to be able to deploy this Flaversham because we likely need to CC that opposing Flaversham, which means that we don't get to ink this turn. Are we really inking the big Sisu? Okay.
Yeah,
we're drawing cards. We don't need it.
Logan putting an emphasis here on staying ahead, or at least on parity with this inkwell of his.
I'm worried. I'm gonna be honest. I'm worried because Hector's got a big grip of cards, and if we get into a situation where this Flaversham gets taken out immediately, which is likely, or it doesn't draw very well.
Was that a Sisu in his hand? Did he ink the Flaversham?
Oh,
Uh-oh.
based on that,
Uh-oh.
yeah,
Uh-oh.
I think we're
It's Jover.
Oh, no.
He inked incorrectly blind with the Fishbone Quill last turn. Didn't look to confirm the card that he was inking, and now is -1 Flaversham and just is gonna say basically do nothing.
That is very unfortunate for Logan.
I mean, we're in a high pressure situation. It's your own cards to manipulate, and making sure that you're inking correctly, especially in a deck like this, is very important.
Well, he is on DKP's team, and maybe he wants to guarantee that Sharks wins the event.
Perhaps.
That's obviously a joke.
Does run out Great Stone Dragon, which comes into play tapped. Exerted so that we're not able to activate it this turn, but that's fine. Decides to use the Fishbone Quill on the remaining card in hand, so we just have no cards left. And we have one character that the Great Stone Dragon is able to consume.
Yeah, that original human Sisu being able to be offered up to the Great Stone Dragon. We have talked about all weekend the top deck potential of this Ruby Sapphire list, and although it does appear a mistake was made in the past couple turns, we're only a Tamatoa away from Logan getting back in this game.
Yeah, my issue with the way that this game was navigated, obviously the Flaversham mistake is what it is, but we were really aggressively inking, but for what? Like, what was our payoff with how aggressively, we inked with Fishbone Quill early, we sailed right away, and we just sent all of our cards into the inkwell, so we have a lot of ink, but nothing to do with it. The Flaversham may have helped, but presumably it was going to get taken out right away. That would have only been one card deeper, so we would have just had this Sisu in hand already. So we'd have had Great Stone Dragon and Sisu in hand. Is that even really that much of a better position?
Yeah, Grandma Tala here showing Moana how you should sing How Far I'll Go, and Tamatoa happy as a clam coming down to get back this Vitalosphere.
She has years of practice, okay? Years. I continue the play-by-play, Jebas, sorry.
That's okay.
Well, you have to at least do the play-by-play now.
Alright, well, I am waiting for him to draw his cards here so that we can see what the Flaversham does. Alright, so we Flaversham and draw 2. So
this was what he needed, right? Like, he needs this Flaversham to come back in. Like, he made a mistake, but he didn't just scoop it up. He's trying, and there's a world.
You just have to keep playing. If a dime does come down from this Tamatoa happy as a clam, like, it's not just over. We do have the Cuzco in hand. It is a little unfortunate, obviously, that we're just going to be behind with the just characters on board. So there's no dime.
He needs a dragon.
What he needs is a be prepared, perhaps, to catch up, but there just really aren't any in the deck. So there is a Maleficent Dragon. We have enough ink for the Maleficent Dragon. We would have to ink one of the cards that we have in our hand.
Well, we can at least hide the fact that it's a Cusco with the fishbone, so sure. Hector doesn't know that we're down one.
And when we dragon, what are we hitting here? Do we perhaps
I think it's
double ink? Okay, bear with me here. We double ink, and then we use the dragon to take out the Sisu.
Nope.
Okay, nope, we'll just grab for a popsicle. Okay, that's fair. I mean, we're desperate on card quantity and quality, so we could even theoretically trade the Grammatala and the opposing Tamatoa with our Vitalosphere to like clean up the board a little bit.
It's interesting. It appears that Logan is going for a line where he's kind of like, yeah, you're going to gain some lore, but I need cards, and hopefully I can come back. And if you're going to answer my crab, the only way you really can is by over-inking. I mean, I guess inking Medusa does it, or double ink somehow, which he's not representing in a brawl, or B-prep. And I think Logan would kiss Hector on the cheek or the head if he just played a B-prep right here for him.
Course.
Well, we have seen a lot of sportsmanship, a good sportsmanship displays here this weekend, but that might go over the line.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he told me he inked wrong, and he's like, you know what? I got you. I'll sing B prep. Like, and that is Medusa. Nope, brawl. Oh yeah, all right. I swear there was a Medusa I saw, and I guess I was right. This is
Medusa very strong in this spot here, being able to cleanly answer the crab. I mean, without Be Prepared in the deck, it's slipping further and further away from being recoverable. Like, yes, we do have the ability to ink this Tipo, and we can dragon and take out 2 of the threats, trade the dragon with something else on the opposing turn, but like, we're just sort of pretending to play catch-up here with the few cards that we have. A dime. Perfect.
Dragon looking to take out both Sisu and Tamatoa here.
Yeah, it takes out the dragon. Not Vitalosphering.
We don't have.
Opted for the popsicle. Suppose recognizing that there's not that many items currently for Hector, not as worried since the crab has already quested a few times and has missed. But a random lucky dime can always make it so that this door is completely shut here. Here comes the second Tamatoa, again knowing that there's no Be Prepared on the other side.
some gorgeous enchanteds.
Alright, get a popsicle for free. Quest for a total of 4 this turn. Takes us up to 12, and now... what are we hoping for? Sisu certainly helps.
We need a coil, though.
Yeah, with no coil either.
And ink.
Yeah, with
A coil and ink and other cards to be able to ink with them.
I guess we have
And the Great Stone Dragon would have been helpful
yeah,
to be able to do some of that, but...
very early on we did ink coil in lieu of the Vitalosphere that we ended up getting in play. We almost could have had a coil engine with Stone Dragon and coil in play here.
Yeah, I did mention that on turn 2 when the coil was inked, that it's very possible that this matchup, removal-wise, the coil is just incredibly important. And now that we don't have one, we're seeing, like, the Sisu just can't do that much on its own.
I think it's just mostly has to do with, like, 1, we needed the Flaversham, so he's keeping that
For sure.
And 2, the card that he didn't ink, that he still has it in his hand, the Cusco. And it's kind of a trap. Because it's like he has to hold on to this card. He has no other way really to answer the dime except for it. And if he inks it early, that kind of like could be a sign for Hector. And Hector's just like, whatever, I got this. Like, I'll put a dime in and I'll use it over 3 turns because I know you don't have an out, right?
Yeah, at 14 lore already, just 1 dime activation would pretty much put Hector over the top, and even just a Maui plus 1 action would go from 19 to 20 here.
With how far behind Logan is, there is not really the luxury of playing around anything. If Hector's got the dime, it's over, right?
But he wasn't able to make that decision on turn 2 necessarily.
True, absolutely. Doesn't find a dime, but does find a Pirate's Life, I believe, which doesn't quite finish it unless there's a second one. Looks like it's just the one. But it does put it so close that I think it's probably about the best that Logan's going to be able to do here. Which, after an ink error like that, I still think that he did recover quite well.
Hector is on 2 dimes. Chat has been confused, or I was sent the wrong list. But I'm pretty sure Hector is on 2 dimes.
Yes, they're both on 2 dimes.
Come on, Sploosh Magoo. Your intel should be top notch.
They have a very similar items package. It's just that in place of like the Pirate's Life, Logan is running a couple of quills and an ice block, basically.
And there,
and that does it.
Session.
Yeah, I think Logan had a good run of trying to recover after the Flavershem mishap. I mean, you had him look at his hand and, you could tell that his heart sank. Like, I can't believe that I just did that. We've all been there, and you play long enough, everybody makes, mistakes like that, so.
I think the list you sent me was the wrong list.
Well, congratulations here to Hector. It was an unusual turn of events here in the finals, but like we talked about, the open deck lists, B-Prep off the table, and all of Hector's characters on the table made it an uphill battle for Logan either way.
We want to thank everyone so much for joining us here today with 20 Lore Pro. We are live here at Charlie's Collectible Shows, Lorcana 13K. We just finished the finals, and what a match it was between Logan and Hector. This has been a long time of long gameplay. 1 through 7 rounds on Saturday of Swiss, and then this morning we had rounds 8 and 9, followed by the top 8 here in the finals. Again, this has been 20 Lore Pro with Charlie's Collectible Show, and next weekend we have more competitive Lorcana coming to you because we will be live in Wisconsin with world-class cards for their Lorcana 10K weekend. Jebas, Wonderland, thank y'all so much for joining us. What are kind of your thoughts from that match?
I mean, when you have a mirror that is very similar but has a few distinct differences, and you have open deck lists like this, you can choose to be the beatdown as opposed to the control, just knowing that your opponent doesn't have the control cards, like Be Prepared, that are going to be able to stop you from, just deploying your threats and just trying to close out the game. And combined with, the amount of Flavershams drawn from Logan's side and put into play, like, card quantity matters, and card quality, depending upon the answers, matters too.
It's tough when you are making a meta call, when you see the development of a new set and how things progress, especially over a large tournament like this, and you make calls based on the deck that you build. And we saw that in his list, I believe we saw no B preps, and so when you run into the mirrors like this, it can always be something that not having a card can affect you. Wonderland, what are kind of some of your final thoughts on the match and how the tournament's gone so far?
Well, the event looked fantastic, and it seemed to go over pretty well. Everything seemed to run fairly smooth. It's heartbreaking to see Ruby Sapphire in the finals as a mirror match. mostly as an Amber Steel main, it's always disheartening to see your least favorite matchup take it down, because after seeing this, it's going to be everywhere at your locals. People are going to be dusting off their sharks. There's going to be a price spike of 1 or 2 cards as everyone has to play the newest deck. The people who sold their sharks to buy crabs to play Sapphire Steel are regretting it, even though they need both. It's kind of rough there. I'm obviously sad for Logan on that mistake there of accidentally inking the wrong card with his Fishbone Quill. Like, that's definitely devastating, and it kind of like throws him off from the spot. Even though Hector, like, we don't want to like tarnish Hector's victory, because he had a lot of stuff there, and even if Logan had drawn those extra cards, it's still quite possible the game plays out almost the same way, because Hector had everything that he needed to go. So it was very well played by Hector, showing that like there's multiple versions of these Ruby Sapphire decks that are both performing well. You can play and win with sharks. I mean, earlier in this event, I said that sharks weren't as good because you can just get peated out. And Hector says, I don't believe you. I'm going to play. I'm going to force them to have the peats. You don't have the peats? Sure, whatever. You better win or I'm going to win on my turn. And like that kind of just does what he does. So very well played by Hector, and congrats again to Logan and the rest of the top 8 for a very well played event.
Well, we are so excited and thankful to have you, Wonderland. You're right. Hector did a great job, and so did Logan. He piloted so well throughout the tournament. I mean, going 7-0-2, Hector himself being 7-1-1. We're going to get Hector here for a finals interview to kind of talk about his list along with his tournament run. That should be coming just in a moment. But again, we are here live with 20 Lore Pro for Charlie's Collectible Show's Lorcana 13K. If you've never been to Charlie's Collectible Show or you haven't had the opportunity to check it out, it is a huge convention. It is an amazing time. There are tons of vendors, lots of cosplay, lots of tournaments going on. It is a great time. This has been a great time here with Charlie's Collectible Show. And lastly, we also want to thank Loaf for joining us here. Loaf, you have been casting kind of throughout the tournament. You joined us for Hunter Burton. How has this kind of compared to Hunter Burton experience, and how have you enjoyed Charlie's Collectible Show?
Both great tournaments, great events to be at. Charlie's Collectibles just continues to grow and grow. And on the floor here, everyone's hoping it goes up in players. And by nature of going up in players, it goes up in prizes. Over the past couple tournaments, I've seen the format grow both during the tournament and across the tournaments. It felt like Sapphire Steel was the deck to beat, and people started to innovate as early as Hunter Burton. And now here at Charlie's Collectibles, it looks like Ruby Sapphire is once again the top dog, and perhaps always was.
Well, this has been a great time here, and just looked outside. His Southside Gaming team, they're cheering for him. They're clapping. It is honestly a huge celebration for Hector here. So we're going to interview Hector at a later time. We'll have that recording, and we'll post that along with our YouTube video. So you'll see that interview later on this week over on the 20 Lore Pro YouTube. Again, this was streamed live in Spanish and in Chinese. We also had a second feature match, which featured all of Zan Saeed's matches, his journey across Charlie's Collectible Show. He was our 20 Lore Pro Community Pro. Very excited to have Zan Saeed on. So if you missed his matches, they are all going to be on 20 Lore Pro's YouTube later on this week. They may be up on Katie, the Lorekeeper's Inn's Twitch for you to watch at your convenience. We will also have the VODs of today's video up on the YouTube and as well on Twitch, but we'll have them broken up and easily accessible for you to watch at your convenience. So again, thank y'all here at 20 Lore Pro. We appreciate y'all, and we will be live again next week at World Class Cards over in Wisconsin for their Lorcana 10K weekend. Thank y'all so much, and we will see y'all here in the future.